is a schmuck. Okay, when he says that Mark Levin and Rush Limbaugh are to blame for an anti-Semite shooting up a synagogue, Mark Levin happens to be Jewish, by the way. And then Chris Hayes in that same clip comes back and says, oh yeah, and there used to be all these Republicans who used to condemn bad rhetoric, like Mitt Romney and Ben Shapiro. It's like these people haven't listened for 5 minutes to my show in which I condemn bad rhetoric on all sides on a routine basis, like legitimately every day. Every day. But there's a narrative that's being driven here by Don Lemon, a guy who defended Antifa, right? That only one side of the aisle is responsible. And if you mention the other side of the aisle, this is because you're being dishonest. This is gaslighting. So a lot of President Trump's critics have, in some cases rightly, suggested that President Trump gaslights his opponents. Though what he does is he says something that is false. People say that it's false. He says, I never said that. That's not what I said. What I said is something completely different. Who are you going to believe? You or your own lying eyes? Okay, the left is doing that right now. What the left is doing is engaging in inflammatory rhetoric. They are claiming that Republicans across the country are responsible for an anti-Semitic slaying at a synagogue, are responsible for a nut job, a whack job in Florida sending pipe bombs to Democratic officials. And then they say, who, us? We're radicalizing people? No, how dare you? How dare you? We're just here calling it like we see it. We're just here being honest about the situation that we face. And at the same time saying, well, no, Democrats have never engaged in violence. Okay, it's not just the congressional baseball shooting, folks. Okay, within the past few years, we have seen riots in Ferguson, Missouri. We saw riots in Baltimore, Maryland. We saw riots in Charlotte, North Carolina. All of those riots were pushed for, were inspired, were justified by a number of Democratic officials, basically saying that the cause that was being rioted about was a just cause. When 5 police officers were shot to death in Dallas a few years ago, President Obama had said a lot of things against the police just before that. Obama wasn't responsible for the shooting. But if we're going to talk about a radical political environment that oftentimes is involved with raising the temperature so that violence breaks out, to ignore all of this is just